Let's just remind you once again, in case you've just popped in for the first time today, another double century for Team India, the first time outside the Indian shores, and of course, the youngest and the quickest to get there. Ishan Kishan, 210 of 131 deliveries, striking at over 160 with 24 fours and 10 sixes. The number of boundaries hit in the Indian innings was absolutely staggering. And I think no matter what happens in the game, no matter what happens going forward, he's made a statement. And of course, that entire opening slot that we were talking about suddenly has a new character in it.
Absolutely. And I just want to go back to one thing. You think about it carefully. Ishan Kishan is really regarded as a prospect. What's the big thing that has happened with him recently? Last year, he got a huge contract because a lot of IPL teams believed he was a big prospect, and justifiably so. But when he played that year IPL, he had the burden of all that money on top of his head. Okay, he's come here. He's come here as a replacement. Didn't expect to be here, play. Okay, Rohit Sharma gets injured. He comes in. So instead of having a burden of everything, he came here totally free. I have a chance. I make runs. Damn, very good. If I don't make runs, what can happen? Anyway, I wouldn't have got a chance. This is like fate has handed me an opportunity. And so he played with an open mind. He played freely, and that makes so much of a difference. And I go back again and look at our T20 team in the World Cup. The biggest problem was a lot of players who were trying to stay in. And we didn't have enough players who were trying to get in and eager to establish themselves. And I think that's exactly the mix that DK was talking about when he's looking for. Young players wanting to come in, just add so much energy to the team. And now with this, I think it's very difficult for India now to step back and say that, no, that was great, but we have our old established stars. They need young blood like this to sort of stir up the system.
Yeah, we'll just elaborate more on that. But to finish on this point, DK, it's not something you can create. The point Joy made about the burden, and it's not just Ishan Kishan. Many players have suffered it, particularly using the IPL as an example. It would be great in a utopian situation if more often we could have players playing with freedom in either franchise cricket or in international cricket.
Yes, I think every tournament, everywhere you represent has its own dynamic. In IPL, obviously, it's money to performance sort of ratio that you're looking at. Obviously, when you play for Team India, everybody's getting paid the same. So the difference becomes how much you have played, what sort of baggage you have, vis-a-vis what you're trying to achieve when you're just fresh and new on the block. So it's very different to compare. I completely get where Joy is coming from. And, obviously, Ishan Kishan coming in today, if interestingly, if a Shubman Gill had been part of the squad, he would have probably opened because he's been doing that for some time now and doing it with aplomb actually for some time now. So Ishan Kishan, in many ways, given an opportunity, takes it with both hands and really makes it count. Now this is what is going to put Shikhar Dhawan in a fix, because now when the next time they pick a team for for Sri Lanka series, where does he stand? If they're going to play a full series, if we're going to play a full team for the series, it's going to be very important. It's going to be very interesting, rather, to see how they could leave out an Ishan Kishan and the fact that a Shubman Gill has been doing so well. And if Rohit is available, somebody has to miss out. It could well be him, and that could be rather sad. But it's been a glorious career and some tough questions to answer for the new selectors. I think they'll have a lot on their plate as they walk into that first ever meeting when they'll be picking a team for the T20s and the ODIs. But certain tough decisions need to probably be taken. At the end of the day, we're all trying to represent for a country and we have a goal in place. And if the changes need to be made, I do think that Rohit and Rahul Dravid will obviously be open to it and see what's required for the team.
I think if we have a look at those figures for Shikhar Dhawan, the strike rate in 2022, 74.21 is something that stands out. The Ishan Kishan knock probably just highlights this and increases the gap. But even without Ishan's knock, if you look at Shikhar Dhawan in isolation, it's still something that you'd want to look at under a microscope.
Yeah, so, and I can always understand that the reason not to tinker with it. I mean, after Sachin and Saurav and Sachin and Sehwag, you've not had such a prolific opening pair. This is one of the greatest opening one-day international pairs in history. I mean, you don't drop Desmond Haynes or Gordon Greenidge overnight. You think about it and you say these are really big players, and there's a big tournament coming up. And Shikhar Dhawan has traditionally been the star of ICC tournaments with things he loved playing on. So that's all I'm saying. All that is to one side, and so that is why it's a process that's long. It's not an easy decision for anybody to take, but I think somebody needs to now. I mean, a really strong nudge has been given to at least say we need to at least consider that. This is not a locked spot definitely anymore.